What's up, dudes? Chooch out here on the Vsett 10 Plus. Watch this. Check out this wheelie, bro. That's how you wheelie an e-scooter right there, bro. That's how you do it. Just full send. Just grab throttle while it's locked in fifth gear with the new handlebars installed and just rip it, dude. I'm so glad I had on the the Lead knee pads right there. Oh my gosh, dude. Honestly, for that type of crash right there, it could not have been better. I was wearing my Alpine Star shoes, their motorcycle shoes, and it literally scuffed the toes of them almost down to my socks on hard toe motorcycle shoes. And then um, the knee pads. You saw the knee pads. Those are just the Lead dual axis knee pads. And I was about to just wear normal pants before this ride. I'm not even kidding you. And I was just thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be on the e-scooter. I'll be fine. I don't. It's not like the dynamics of falling on the electric unicycle. And I'm so glad I put the knee pads on, guys. And this is why I wear the gear. It's because, dudes, I cut up like for right there, for instance. Like I should have had my hand on the brake. Like whenever you're doing wheelies, guys, if you just keep your hand on the back brake, and whenever it comes up, you can put the front end down. But this being an e-scooter, I got used to it just power wheeling before that. So I was hitting wheelies everywhere before that. And I got used to it and kind of got used to not having my hand on the brake. And I was like, all right, well, this is how it feels. And this thing doesn't really come up too far. But that particular time right there, I really reached back on it and just gave it all the throttle it had. And I have new handlebars I put on here too, which makes it way more rigid, guys. I hit 51 miles an hour on this thing the other day, and it was just because I swapped the handlebars out of all things. That was one thing that added speed to it because the old handlebars were way heavier on top, and whenever you have all that weight on top of the stem like that, it causes a lot of unnecessary rattling and chatter on the bottom. Whenever I put these new handlebars on, it's like one of those trick little scooters that are like at the park. Those like kids like Tanner Fox and whatnot are hitting the tricks on, and it makes the whole stem way more rigid and lightweight. These are extremely lightweight handlebars I found that actually match the scooter, and that's kind of why I was able to hang on right there. And the whole stem and everything, it just feels way better, guys, than the old handlebar setup. It makes all the difference in the world. And I mean, doing stuff like that and looping it out, it's fine whenever you have gear on. Like you see right there, the only thing I really tore up that was anything expensive at this point is my Alpine Star shoes. And those are honestly too small anyways. I need to get a new pair. But like straight up, the thing is if you wear your gear, guys, and you have a crash, you can do exactly what a crash is meant to do. You can learn from it and not get hurt from that crash. And that is a huge thing, guys, because if I would have just been wearing my jeans right there, I'd have come home with two bloodied up knees. Like I'm talking wretchedly bloodied up knees. And I literally came home fine. I kept riding. I had a great time, continued to ride around, and it took 2 seconds to click on these Lead dual axis knee pads. And these things, guys, have saved me so many times. It is insane. This is literally, besides the helmet, the second piece of gear I'd get. I'd literally get the knee pads over gloves and wrist guards. You definitely want to have gloves and wrist guards, but I'm just saying how much I love these knee guards right here, guys. And it just is a huge, huge help. Whenever you go to bail, you can do what you naturally would do and go to your knees and just slide it out. And that's like, I mean, that is all the difference in the world between you coming home just with a ruined day and being able to just get right back up. So I'm a huge proponent for wearing all your equipment, even if if you're a casual rider, though. That's the thing, guys. A lot of people don't ride like I do. Whenever I go out to ride, I can't not grab all the throttle that's there. I can't not have this thing in fifth gear everywhere I go. I can't like just be tame on it. I have to really have fun with it. And if you know that about yourself, that's when you need to wear gear. If you're not going to ride like an idiot all the time, you might be able to slack down on the gear, but still you have variables out there that aren't you, which is also why you still should wear your gear. Because anything like that, man, like having the full face lead, all that stuff, and the leather gloves, everything, man, you can really take a gnarly fall and get right back up. And you might not enjoy looking like you're fully kitted out on an electric scooter. But I'm telling you, the day you hit the pavement, you're not gonna care. You're gonna be like, holy cow, bro! I got up from that fall, and you're just gonna be so happy that you had everything on, and you're not sitting there in a world of hurt, looking like a total idiot on the sidewalk with two bloodied up knees. Like you can slide it out, and literally, that crash looked almost pretty cool. It looked like it was almost like a trick I was trying to do and like slide out of. But I'll link the Leatt dual axis knee pads below. They're great for electric unicycling. If you don't have them for electric unicycling, you have to buy them. I just bought a brand new pair of the lime green and blue ones. So I got those on standby for whenever these are absolutely destroyed. Because these have been used for about 2 years now, guys, and I have really, really gotten my use out of them. I mean, they're torn to hell. So all in all, the Vsett 10 Plus is great. Um, I wanted just to let you know that you can power wheelie this thing, and all that right there just shows that this is like anything else. Even though it is an e-scooter, you can get just as good on this thing as you want to, man. Like literally, you could push the limits of this thing of how good you wanted to get. Where you could do stoppies on it, do tricks on it. You could really get to where you could jump this thing and off-road it well. You could literally push it as hard as you wanted to. The build quality on this thing is solid. The parts for this thing on the individual level of buying each part is pretty cheap. I mean, say like if I bend these handlebars were $23 that I put on here, guys. $23, and they are so lightweight compared to the old ones. And you see that, like literally the way it drives is like one of those uh, trick scooters, like a park, like skateboard, like trick park scooter, and it rides just like that. Like the angle is aggressive, and it is so much better than that the sweeping back handlebars that weighed like 5 pounds that were on top of this thing before. And I even took off the bark busters and everything that I had on this thing because you want the handlebars to be lightweight. And just take off as much weight up there as you possibly can, and then it makes wheeling easier, and you can get it down, guys. One thing that's touchy on this thing is the brakes when you get it, which is a good thing. The brakes are very, very good on this scooter, guys. Where I have gotten to where now, it's not in this video, to where I started power sliding sideways, and where I literally get to really trust in it, and I can just drift this thing like no other, where I literally just lock on the brakes, and then I put on the dual motors, guys, about halfway through the slide, and you can drift this thing, guys. It is so much fun. You can't do that on a motorcycle. So like if anybody's out there is like, hey, why don't you just get a motorcycle at this point, dude? I've figured out little things you can do on this scooter that you cannot do on a motorcycle. A motorcycle is not dual drive. They make like one enduro motorcycle. I think a long time ago when I used to race enduro, there was one that was a two-wheel drive motorcycle. I'm not even kidding you. One guy had one, and during the muddy, just terrible races, I'm talking through the mountains with just total mud up in like West Virginia, he would take that motorcycle out there and dominate people. And it was just literally a dual-wheel drive motorcycle, which is just insane. And these scooters are dual-wheel drive. So going over snow and ice, off-road, taking it, once you get into a power drift, you can use your front wheel to actually grab and pull you out of the power drift. And it is so much fun, guys. I've had a total blast with this scooter. And it's just because it is so different than anything I've ever rode before. And developing a whole new riding style to this is just a blast in itself. Like where you got to put your weight on the board of this thing. What I like to do right there, so I ride a normal, like if I go on a skateboard, I'm what they call normal. I'm not goofy. And if I go on like a snowboard, I'm normal. I'm not like goofy footed either. So with this, you can probably take my exact stance that I'm using on this, because if you're new to e-scooters, that's one thing that you're going to get on it, and it'll take you about 20 minutes to really understand exactly what your stance is. I mean, literally, and this is just for guys that are just getting an e-scooter. If you even rode like a bird scooter around town or something like that, then you already know your stance. Like you've already developed that, and you can just take that right over to your Vsett scooter or whatever it may be. But it does take a little bit of time. Like for if you are a motorcycle rider, bicycle rider, skateboarder, it's gonna be like, okay, where do I put my feet on this thing? And what I found is you want to take your left foot. So if you're just normal footed, your left foot, you put it up, centered about, I'd say, with the ball of your foot and the weight on the left side though. You want it up front about, I'd say, about 2 inches behind the charge ports, but more over to the left hand side. So your left foot farther over to the left hand side. And then your back foot, guys, is going to be directly on the farthest part. The ball of your foot is going to be on the farthest compression point of that kicktail, to where you can engage the suspension whenever you need to. And so what this allows you to do is whenever you're coming up on potholes, whenever you're coming up on any aggressive terrain, you literally just lean all the way back, guys, to where there's hardly any weight on the front wheel. And then you can go over large obstacles. You can make it over snow, you can make it over ice, you can make it over mud, anything like that, just because you're pretty much like just drifting over it with that front wheel. And having your footing set up like that allows you to apply weight to the back when you need to for unweighting the front. And then in corners, you're going to want to put weight on the front. So that's why in corners, you see me leaning all the way forward, guys. And then I have all my weight transferred to my left hand foot. And even though my left hand foot is farther to the left, I use my back foot just a little bit to counterbalance that. And so it's a whole fine thing to where I could ride one-footed essentially just on my left foot if I wanted to, and then keep my right foot completely free. That's kind of how it feels like if I was just on flat ground. The right foot is all for control. The right foot is literally calibrating my weight for the front end of the scooter. Basically, that's all it's doing. And I have kind of the same philosophy for the unicycle, but the funny thing is, on the unicycle, I use a different foot as my primary center of gravity. I use my right foot as my primary center of gravity on the electric unicycle, and then my left foot is my control foot on the unicycle. So pretty much all my weight and all my weight and all my throttle is coming from my right foot on the unicycle, and then all my input for control and turning and everything I really do that's major is from the left foot on the unicycle. And this, I mean, it really takes a long time to understand that, but that's a huge thing I noticed with this scooter. So all in all, what I really like about this thing is that it has the performance to really be as fun as you want it to be. There's a lot of room for improvement, for growing your skill on this thing. You can commute on it and be casual, or you can really take it to the next level and have a lot of fun on your commute and just as a toy. And you really can do a lot of things with this thing, guys. It's impressed me, and the suspension and the dual motors makes this thing just so much fun. It's like nothing you would ever imagine until you actually ride one. It's a blast.